everybody. What's going on? It's your girl Paulette. I'm the owner and founder of Brownstone Worldwide, which houses brownstoneworldwide.com. We also have under the wheelhouse KCCR The Brownstone, and we also have Brownstone Living Magazine. Welcome everybody to another edition of the Lunch and Learn Hour. Guys, we have an amazing guest with us today that's going to be spending some time in the Brownstone talking about all things health, mental health, physical health, and all of the things that you need to know, especially as we get to the next phase, ladies, in our lives. We were talking about that a little bit earlier. And of course, I have Dr. Pam Middleton with us today, and I am super, super excited to share with you her information before we get started, because y'all, I didn't even know I'd be sitting in greatness and all of these folks and stuff. So listen, y'all ready for this? Because I'm getting ready to share it with you. Pamela Middleton, MD, known as Dr. Pam, is a physician, well-being coach, international best-selling author, and speaker on health and wellness. Dr. Pam has been a guest speaker at numerous events where she has wowed audiences with information on natural health and healing options that are not widely known. She has authored books and articles on holistic and integrative health. Dr. Pam received her medical degree from Wayne Star University in Detroit, Michigan, and completed a pediatric residency at Children's Hospital of Michigan in Detroit. Also, she completed the International College of Bioenergetic Medicine and is certified in clinical homeopathy and practical applied nutrition. Dr. Pam completed the College of Executive Coaching postgraduate certification program in positive psychology, wellness, and well-being coaching. And y'all, she's a Mind Valley Life Coach certified individual. So we need to be excited about that, because that says a lot. Because not only is she talking about your mind, she's talking about your body, she's talking about your overall wellness. Now, in addition to working as a locum tenens or traveling physician, Dr. Pam offers women's well-being coaching, consulting, and speaking services. Y'all, I couldn't get all of that out. I want to bring on Dr. Pam Middleton, and let's get this conversation started. Hey, Dr. Pam, so happy that you can be here with us today.
Thanks for having me.
Of course. I am always so excited. First of all, let me just give a shout out to all of the Deltas, because y'all showing out. And it's so exciting, because you ladies, the last couple of interviews that we have done have all been Deltas, and you all are wowing our audience with your greatness and your excellence and your Black excellence, and really showing and improving for the communities that you serve. And so that's where I want to start, Dr. Pam. First of all, you're a pediatrician. What made you get into medicine, first of all? And second of all, why pediatrics to begin?
So honestly, I think somebody in my family brainwashed me to go into medicine.
Okay.
Because I always said I wanted to be, well, a lot of my family members were school teachers, like my mom, my aunts, they were all school teachers. So I remember saying, well, I want to be a teacher. And I think that my mom kind of talked me out of that. However, I'm still a teacher because a physician is a teacher. So that was one thing. Then the pediatrics, I love kids, and I think I've always thought of kids as our future. So if I could work with the kids, I can secure our future. And then to be honest with you, as I went through medical school and saw how grown folks abuse their bodies, I'm like, let me deal with the kids.
Wow. Get them early,
before they have abused their bodies. And a lot of times parents will do things for kids that they won't do for themselves. Well, actually, I should say parents used to. Now, I don't know.
Wow. Okay. So curious. I was reading your bio and I reread it and kind of tripped over a couple of things. And I said to myself, my God, what has she not done? Now, with you being a pediatrician, you've also found time to go over into this Mind Valley field, right? And I'd love for you to expand upon that. But here's what I want to definitely talk about for sure. As a pediatrician, and you're teaching the young people from a young age how to take care of themselves. If we start there, we can help with some of the things that are happening potentially or possibly in our community, the Black and Brown community. But now I want to focus a little bit about where you are now in your journey as a medical professional, right? Because I did read where you're a traveling physician, but you also do something with, as I was saying earlier in our pre-conversation in the green room, I was saying, I was calling us the seasoned ones or the Lowrys. We got a little Lowry sprinkled on us. So you work with us as well. Can we talk about that?
Yes.
Because I'm at that age.
Yes, we
Yeah.
can. So, yes, I actually help women who are overworked, overwhelmed, and are overcommitted
Okay.
to create their best life
Mm-hmm.
during midlife. Okay,
Oh.
so that's where we are in
Mm-hmm.
midlife.
Okay.
And, we do this by managing and decreasing stress and trying to avoid burnout.
Mm-hmm.
And the reason that I'm doing that and I'm very passionate about it is because I went through that, what I call it, my O's. Because a few years ago, I had a thriving holistic pediatrics practice
Mm-hmm.
in Southern California.
Mm-hmm.
And, felt like I was living my best life.
Mm-hmm.
And I had an illness in the family and eventually needed to move back home, to help out with my family. And in doing so, I had to give up that practice and I had to give up my Southern California lifestyle that, like I said, I thought was my best life. But I realized that I had been on the struggle bus. I mean,
Mm.
I was basically all the O's: overworked, overwhelmed, overcommitted. Plus, I had become overweight. So
Really?
I changed my life around. I released 70 pounds. Hey,
What?
got my joy and vitality back and was like, you know what? I have friends, I have colleagues who are going through what I went through, and I
Mm-hmm.
want to help them out because I feel like
Mm-hmm.
at this point in our lives, we should be living our best lives and not on the
Absolutely.
struggle bus. And
Come
it's,
on.
and a lot of us are really on the struggle bus, and it gets somewhat depressing because you're like, I have worked hard. And a lot
Mm-hmm.
of women are very successful women, but they are struggling with those O's. And so I help women to overcome that. Yeah.
That is amazing. So wait. You talked about the O's. Can we go? I'm gonna write those down.
Yeah, let's get
What's
going.
that first? Oh no. You know what? Even better. Let's do this. The O's are, what are they
Overworked,
again? Overworked. Uh-huh.
overwhelmed,
Overwhelmed. Uh-huh.
overcommitted. And my other O was overweight.
Overweight. So I'm gonna separate those, but I want to put this first one on the screen. Overworked,
Okay.
overwhelmed, and overcommitted.
Yes.
Um, I'm gonna go here.
Mhm.
As Black women, we got that bad, don't we?
Yes, and I'm glad you said as Black woman because
Yeah.
I'm going to tell you this phrase that has popped up, and I know you've heard it. We've all heard it, and I think we all live by it. To
Yeah.
whom much is given, much is expected. I
Mm.
think that phrase is getting us all these
All
O's
these
right
things.
there. Okay, let me just say it
Mm.
because I'm talking about myself.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay.
And
Okay.
so, because we have been given things and we want to reach back. And like you said, we want to help our community out because
Absolutely.
who's
Yeah.
going to help our community if we don't, right? So we don't mind helping out in the community, but it's as if once we get going, people just expect more and more, or even sometimes we expect more and
Hmm.
more. And it's
Yeah.
not just what we're doing in the community, it's all of the things, or some people
Yes.
say all of the things, right?
All the
So,
team.
you're like, the boss, or maybe you may have your own business, or you
Mhm.
are the perfect employee. You're doing very
Mm.
well, so people come to
Mhm.
you for everything because you're good at what you do.
Yes.
You're working in these community organizations. Once again, you're good at what you do, so
Yes.
everybody keeps on coming to you. Your
Mm.
family members, you may be the go-to person in your family, so everybody's coming to you for that. Your husband, your
Mm.
kids. And then,
Mm.
as we become at the seasoned age, if we now have to take care of other people, we have to be caregivers. There's
Yes.
just a whole lot on our plates, and
Mhm.
we just don't know how to say no.
Why is that, do you think? Why do we not know how to say no?
It depends. For some people are actual people pleasers. Like one of my
Mm.
clients, we figured out that she is a people pleaser because she couldn't say no, but then she would be
Mm.
frustrated with herself, would be frustrated at how much she had to do. And we
Mhm.
finally came to the root cause of why can't you say no? Well, she
Mhm.
was trying to be a people pleaser. So she
Mm.
always was trying to please other people. And
Mhm.
one of the things that, I teach my clients is that no is a complete sentence. And I know we've
Right.
all heard that, but that's
Mhm.
easier said than done. You
It
have to
is.
practice the no.
Yeah.
But
Mhm.
when you practice the no's, it becomes easier. And if you do it correctly, you see that it kind of stops people in their tracks. Like,
Mhm.
I remember the first time I really did it, because people say no is a complete sentence. And
Mhm.
usually, somebody asks you to do something like, "Oh, Pam, can you chair this committee, blah blah blah."
Yeah.
Oh, I got too much on my plate. I really can't do it. Then of course they come back with, "Oh, it's not going to be that bad. You can have a co-chair. Your committee members will help you." Well, you know what? That usually does not really happen, but you let yourself get talked into it. So what I learned is, if that same person came to me with that and I just said no, that's it. End
Right.
of discussion. There's nothing else to discuss. And I remember the first time I said no to someone, it was like
Mhm.
they were stopped in their tracks. I said no, and they were like, oh, like they were ready for
Right.
me to say something else, but I didn't. All I said was no, and they didn't have anything else to say. They were just like,
Mhm.
oh,
Mhm.
okay.
'Cause what else could they say at that point, right?
That's it.
There was nothing else left to say.
Nothing
So
else.
overwhelmed, where does that fit
Mhm.
in? How do we get overwhelmed?
And the overwhelm, once again, it comes from, having all of these things that you're trying to do, and you just become overwhelmed in life. Like, I don't know if you've ever felt this way, but I have at times when you just got so much going on that you don't even know where to start. Like, you feel like you're just going in circles, and sometimes you just sitting there like,
Right.
I can't even get started because I don't even
Mhm.
know where to start because I got so
Right.
much I got to do.
Exactly. My
So,
goodness.
yeah.
Yeah. That
And
and I'm a proponent of lists. I'm a
mhm,
proponent of planners and journals, but
mhm.
sometimes that can get overwhelming.
It can, especially
Yeah.
if we do too much. Because what I tell people to do, and this kind of rolls over into the overcommitted category, but
Mhm.
as we like make our to-do list and schedule out what we have to do, we
Mhm.
need to actually we need to put times, because you can come up with a list of like a 20 to-do list that,
Mhm. You sure can.
realistically, depending on what some of those things are, you're never going to get through those 20 things, not in that one day. But
Mm-mm.
if you were actually to write out like how much time it's really going to take you to do this,
Yeah. Yeah.
then you can really see, and you can really see what time you have. And I think that, especially as busy women, if we did that more, once again, we would be less inclined to agree to do some of the things we agree to do, because there's no more time left. When you're
Right.
just kind of like in your head with it, like, oh yeah, I can probably squeeze that in. No,
Mhm.
you really can't.
You
But
really
you don't
can.
have it written out. So you don't realize that you really can.
Mm-mm. Yeah, yeah. So we sitting up in here eating all the O's. And speaking of all the O's, the last O that you talked about.
Overweight.
Mm.
Yes. And the overweight came about for a variety of reasons. The
Mm-hmm.
biggest reason was that I hit menopause,
Mm.
and the weight came on, and all the things that I used to do before to get it off was not working. Now,
Really?
what I also understand was there are some other things going on with that, some hormonal changes, stress levels. So there was
Mm.
more to it. And I, as a physician, I think we have been guilty of leading people to think that, losing weight is just a matter of eating less and exercising. That is a lie from the pit of hell. Okay, did I
Uh-oh. That just made me sit up because I'm there. I am seasoned.
So the,
Yeah.
the first thing, what I will say, and what I did, and I know all the fitness people will agree with me, you cannot
Yep.
out exercise a bad diet. And
Mm-mm.
so a lot of people feel like, oh, well, if I exercise, then I can eat whatever. And I think that's one of the things that gets people in trouble. It got me in trouble. I would
Mhm.
start a program where I'd be like, okay, I'm going to change what I'm eating and I'm going to start working out more. Well, you know what?
Mhm.
Both of those take willpower. They're what
Yeah.
we call willpower depleters. You
Mm.
don't need to be trying to do two willpower depleters at the same time. So, what I did that was successful for me was I only did one thing. I changed what I ate, and I literally lost 7 pounds. So, all the fitness people, just close your ears.
Oh,
But I
okay.
lost 70 pounds without exercising. Okay. Now, as a physician, what I will tell you,
Yeah.
exercise is good for your cardiovascular health. Yes,
Yeah.
we all need to move. Do
Mhm.
we need to be doing like an hour of aerobics a day? No, just go for a walk, but walk kind of quickly, walk briskly. But
Yeah.
you want to move, but I didn't need to do that to
Yeah.
lose the weight.
Mhm.
And what happens with people is, because I see it all the time. You go to the gym, work out, and then you go, okay, I'm gonna go to Starbucks and get me a triple whatever you get from Starbucks, which actually is more calories than you just burned in the gym.
Mm.
Now you got an attitude a few weeks later because you hadn't lost weight, or maybe you even
Mhm.
gained a pound or two,
Mm.
that was not
Mm.
muscle mass.
Right.
So,
Right.
so all of these things go into play. And then the other thing with my overweight was I had so much going on that I didn't have time to eat correctly. I was
Mm.
going from work to meeting to, okay, let me just grab something on the way
Yeah.
here.
Yeah. Yeah.
And, once I started putting myself first and saying, I've got to eat, it changed. I would
Right.
take time to eat because there was a time, as a physician, a lot of times, you get behind during the day.
Mhm.
So now it's lunchtime. Now
Mhm.
you've worked through maybe half of your lunchtime, if
Yeah.
not all of your lunchtime. And you're like,
Mm.
okay, my
Me too.
afternoon patients are already here. So let me just grab, so then you grab something very unhealthy. I'm going to just grab a soda and some chips. Yeah, I don't do that now. It's like,
Mhm.
I have real food, healthy food that's going to take
Mhm.
me a while to sit there and chew and
Right.
digest.
Right.
So
Okay.
I'm going to eat my food, because I need
Gotcha.
to take care of me. Because if I'm not
Mhm.
taking care of me, I'm not going to be seeing any patients. Okay.
Ooh.
And I think that's something as women we have to learn too, because we're so busy out here doing everything for everybody else
Everybody.
but us. But who's going to take care of those people if we're not around? And if
That's
we don't
right.
take care of ourselves, we will not be around, ladies.
Yeah. That's right. That's
Real talk.
right. Real talk. And I'm
Mhm.
I'm glad that you brought that up because I'm gonna keep calling it. We keep eating those O's, and I'm not talking about Cheerios. We keep eating the O's, and we're not. I think and I'm gonna put this on the plate and see what your thoughts are on this, Dr. Pam. So
Mhm.
when we talk about, and I'm gonna put them back both on the screen. So when we talk about overworked, overwhelmed, and overcommitted. And then we also talk about that last monster that is what a lot of us are facing in this portion of our lives, and that is overweight, right? So we're
Mhm.
dealing with all of these, okay?
Mhm.
And we're eating the O's, and we're eating it with a big old spoon every single day. right? We even add a little extra milk and a little sugar with it,
Yep.
to kind of sweeten it down because so and so needs us. And then we add a little bit more sugar, maybe a couple of slices of banana because I'm the only one that can do it because if I don't, then it won't get done, right? And so the hard part is we keep eating the O's. And when we put ourselves first, the first thing that I'm hearing you say, because see, folks think I don't be paying attention when y'all say stuff. You said we should use that one word as a complete sentence. No. And so when we start to do that, we can get rid of the overweight and we can get rid of the overworked, overwhelmed, and overcommitted. But now here's the question. Now you got some folks probably going to be mad at you. Don't mess with her because, she in that age group, where so and this and that and the third, they always say when they get a certain age, they get a little persnickety. Would you say that when we get to this age where we are, now I'm going to admit I'm over 50. And I have noticed that it's not that I don't have a level of patience. I am there where I got sick of eating the O's with the sugar and the bananas, right? And overcompensating where people were not holding their own because I was doing it and they knew that I would. I've noticed that a lot of folks that I thought were my friends weren't. Let's talk about that. As we get older and we're in this space where we are Lowry's and we are well seasoned, where we are in this space of becoming somebody new, because I think that's what's happening for me. I can only speak for me. Menopausal. We don't even want to talk about menopause. Okay. So I'm gonna say the word again. We scared of it. It's like a no, let's not talk about that. That's too creepy. It's too scary. But it's a part of who we are as women as we get older. Why? Number one, why is that such a taboo topic? And number two, this place of being where we currently are, where no is a complete sentence, do you find this to be a portion of what I would like to call self-discovery? And how do you help people with that?
Yes. So, the first part with the no is just getting to the point where you can actually feel comfortable saying no, because there's two parts to the no's. So what I learned personally was that it became easy for me to start saying no to the things I really did not want to do. However, what I also had to learn to do was say no to things that I wanted to do, but did not have time to do. And another thing is that you have to realize that saying no to something now may actually mean that you can say yes to something else later.
I like that.
So yeah. And so for me, there was the two parts. So first it was just getting used to saying no. The first time I did it and I saw that person was stopped in their tracks, I was like, oh, that really works. And then, and the more I did it, the more comfortable I became with it. And I became really comfortable with being able to say it in a nice way. Like, I wasn't being nasty with anybody. Like, no, I'm not doing that,
Right.
Very, no. Just with a nice little smile.
Yeah.
And, but then, like I said, it was, wait a minute, now I got to start saying no to things I want to do, but really don't have time to do. Okay. And then you were asking about why is the menopause subject taboo? And I think it's not so, because women will talk about it among themselves. Maybe it's who you talk around. If you think somebody else is experiencing it or can help you with something, then women don't really mind talking about it. But a part of it is also, I guess, aging with confidence, because that's considered a part of aging. A lot of times we don't want to admit that we're aging. We don't want to admit to our age. So saying you're in menopause, people automatically know that you must be of a certain age now.
Yes.
So I think that's one thing, because that's kind of like we're aging ourselves, like, because as Black women, good Black don't crack. So a lot of us don't really look our ages anyway.
No,
So,
no.
we out here and people thinking you're younger than you are. But if you
Hmm.
admit that you're in menopause, it's like, wait a minute, I didn't know you were that old. Really?
Right, right, right.
And I mean, and sometimes people will do that to you. Like if they
Hmm.
really think you're younger, they'll be like, really? And then you're
Right,
like, oh man, now I feel old, or
right,
some people will be like,
right.
oh, I didn't know you were that old. Then your face
Hmm.
falls and they go, oh no, I mean, I'm not trying to say you it's like just shut up because you already opened mouth and inserted foot. But okay, whatever.
Yes,
Let's move on.
yes.
It is what it is.
Right, right, absolutely. So
Yeah.
yeah, I've learned that, to your point, most of the sisters in my group are peri or going through it right now, and
Mhm.
most are not post yet. But we are all experiencing the night sweats and the joints and the still
Mhm.
taking care of, like you were saying earlier in our green room call. We were talking about, taking care of elderly parents and all of the responsibilities. And now some of us are grandparents and the kids are
Mhm.
getting married and kids off to college, and somewhere we are living in this experience of rediscovering
Mhm.
who we are.
Yeah.
And that's, I'm going to put it out here because it's my platform and I'm going to just go ahead and put my business out there. I'm in that space right now, right?
Uh-huh.
Where my daughter, 34, she got married. She's, happily married, beautiful wedding. I saw her off into the sunset. Goodbye, and then I've got another one that's, 28, and she's a mommy and she's doing her thing and living her best life in her small business. Then you got one that's over FAMU and she's living her best life. And then my last one is at home. And he lives in his bedroom when he's at home, folks. Okay. And Dr. Pam, I got time.
Okay.
I got a lot of time. Right. And so for women like me
Mm-hmm.
who are in this phase of life
Yeah.
where we know we're needed, but you raised them right and they're independent,
Mm-hmm.
and it's just you, because I'm single, right?
Mm-hmm.
What portion of life should women like me be focused on at this point? Or is that even important?
Well, you can focus on whatever is most important to you
Yeah.
at this point. Because,
Mhm.
at this point, there's some women who are, like you were saying, rediscovering themselves or recreating themselves. So some women are heading into retirement or are looking to make a
Mhm.
shift, because
Yes.
now that, we're not the type who just say, okay, I'm going to retire and just like, not do
Mm-mm.
anything. We're like,
Mm-mm.
so let me see what is going to be my retirement career,
Right. Yes, that's us. Yep.
you know.
Yep. Yep.
So, so you may be like, you may be transitioning from what you have been doing for the last 20 to 30 years or so to,
Hmm.
okay, what's my next?
Yeah. Yeah.
So that's one of the things. So you can take time to do that. You can
Hmm.
take time to make sure that you're healthy, because this is also the age where we start seeing what our parents went through in us. So
Mm.
if our parents had some health challenges, we may start to go down that same road. And
Yeah.
you're like,
Yeah.
yeah, I don't really want to go down that road. And as a
Right.
physician, one of the things I'll say about a lot of the hereditary diseases,
Hmm.
some of the hereditary things are also lifestyle. Like I'll have families who come in where, the whole family is obese and they'll say things like, well, big bones run in the family or whatever. It's like, no, bad eating habits run in the family.
Yes.
If you have bad eating habits and you're
Hmm.
teaching your kids bad eating habits, they're now looking like you. And unfortunately, because of, and I'll just, this is probably politically incorrect, but I'll say it anyway. The food is made differently than how it used to be made when we were coming up. So things that
Exactly.
maybe we could eat, our kids
Hmm.
eat that and they blow up. Okay.
Yes.
I mean,
Yes.
and they're putting things in the foods to make you want to eat more. There's a whole lot
Hmm.
going on there. So, like I said, that's probably
Hmm.
politically incorrect, but it is what it
Yeah.
is. So you have to be careful. And, and if you are still raising kids, you have to be careful what they're eating. You can't
Hmm.
just allow them to eat anything, everything in
Hmm.
moderation.
Hmm.
But it's so, I'm sorry. I went down my little rabbit
No,
hole.
no, by all
Food
means,
is an
please.
issue.
Yes.
It's a big
Yes.
issue.
Yes.
Yeah, but but all these things that you just rediscovering yourself, just do. I always tell them, do what makes you happy. You have worked hard. You
Ooh.
deserve some happiness, some
Mm.
joy, some peace.
Mhm.
So,
Mm.
do whatever that is. If you need to take a nice trip, if you want to do that, do
Yeah,
that. But you want to design your life to be able to enjoy this part of your
absolutely.
life. It's not
Absolutely.
fair for you to feel like, well, dang, I've worked all hard all my life and I'm still not getting a break.
Right.
And I think that's what's happening, and that's what's leading to some of the O's, because you have worked hard and now you're still doing all this other stuff. People are just
Yes.
piling things on you, and you're just like,
Yeah.
okay, okay.
Mhm.
And then you start putting yourself last, because one of the things that happened to me when I was still in California, my office was minutes from the ocean, and the ocean is my happy place. So
Mm.
I had promised myself that weekly I would spend time relaxing by the ocean, just
Yeah.
once a week.
Mhm.
Do you know that most of the time, all I could do was listen to the ocean as I drove by? Why?
Really?
Because I put myself last. It was like,
Yes.
okay, no, you got to go to this meeting. Oh, you're going to see this, you're going to stay late and see this extra patient. And now you
Mhm.
got this meeting, so you don't have time to go to the beach. So there's things that we have, like even when we have time carved out for ourselves and
Yeah.
someone will ask us to do something, we'll just put that task into that time we have for ourselves. Well, okay, I can do that. I guess I just won't, whatever
Right.
you have for
Right.
yourself. So I'm like,
Yeah.
no, don't do that. No,
Mhm.
you're not available. The time is not available. And that's why a lot of times as women too, you have to schedule things in for yourself. If
Mm.
it's not on your schedule, it doesn't happen. You know,
Period.
I didn't schedule in that time for me to go and sit by the ocean. It was just like,
Mhm.
oh, I'll just do that at the end of the
Mhm.
day.
Mhm.
But then I would allow my day to get too long. And so it
Right.
wasn't scheduled in. That meeting that I had was scheduled
Right.
in. I knew
We're
that I got
scheduled
to be
in.
at that meeting. So what happened,
Mhm.
I worked up until, okay, now I got enough time to get to the meeting, you know?
Right.
Yeah.
I love that. And so I'm going to share what you just said across the screen because I think people need to understand what you just said because it is something that we don't do. Schedule your personal time on purpose.
Yes.
You know,
Definitely.
I'm thinking
And
now
okay.
on what's on my calendar, and not one thing is for my personal time. That's crazy.
Right. And I mean, and your personal time, this is like maintenance. Like, a lot of people say, oh, I do self-care, I get my nails done, I get my hair done. That's
Mhm.
maintenance. Okay. That is just maintenance. Because we
Right.
fool ourselves that, oh yeah, I'm doing self-care because I'm going to get
Hmm.
my nails done and my
Hmm.
hair done. And you sitting there in the nail salon on the phone doing no, no, uh-uh. That's maintenance.
Okay, y'all. Did y'all
I
hear what
mean,
Dr. Pam said?
it's nice, but it's maintenance. Like you need to do that just to keep going, but you need some true self-care where you truly take care of yourself. Put yourself first. Sit down and figure out what that means for you. What is it that you want? What do you want to do? What makes you happy? For me, I like to travel. I love traveling. And I took a trip last year. I went to East Africa. It was lovely. It
Hmm.
was an amazing trip. But a few years ago, I probably wouldn't have had the time to take that trip. Okay.
Come on now. So I'm going to put this up here too. True self care is not getting your hair and nails done.
It's maintenance. That's maintenance.
That's maintenance. Ooh, wait a minute. Do you
Okay, am
know
I
how
stepping on
many
some toes?
people?
I'm sorry if you like they say in church. If you
Girl,
can't
wait a minute.
say amen, say ouch.
You better say ouch because I I have always thought that that was self-care. You're saying to me just going and maybe getting this wig split every once in a while, going to get a manicure and a pedicure is just regular upkeep. To have true self-care, you okay. I'm gonna let you finish
Because
because
I
I
would say
just got school.
true self-care, like, you said it earlier, I did holistic medicine. So holistic, I always thought of it as inside out healing. So
Mm-hmm.
true self-care is like from the inside out. So a lot of the
Mm-hmm.
things that we consider self-care, it's almost like, okay, that's gonna say, but yeah, okay, I'll just say it. Like,
Okay.
people saying, putting lipstick on a pig,
No, it's
it's
not
like,
right.
yeah, we're just like, okay, let me, because it's like it looks good from the outside. So you can look put
Yeah.
together. You are falling apart inside, but your hair is done, your
Impeccable.
nails are done, you are dressed
Mm-hmm.
to the nines, and
Mm-hmm.
nobody knows that you've fallen apart on the
My, my,
inside.
my, my, my. Come on.
Okay. So you want to take care of yourself from the inside out.
Wow.
Okay. And for a lot of people, one of the things that you can do if you're on the struggle bus, you might need therapy. Okay. A
Woo!
lot of people need therapy. Now, you can work with a coach like me, but I'm not a therapist. But,
Okay.
coaching is very helpful because that's what I
Mm-hmm.
did. But a lot of people actually need therapy because, a
Mm-hmm.
lot of people, especially Black women, we've gone through some trauma.
Yes, we have.
We have gone through trauma and we are still being traumatized to this day.
Mm.
So that's a lot. It's
Oh
a lot.
my.
You may need some therapy around that. Okay. So
Yeah.
don't be afraid of therapy. And please don't buy into that craziness about Black people don't need therapy.
Yep.
Just pray about it. And I'm a Christian
Yep.
and I'm all for praying, but
Mm.
you may need therapy. Okay. Because just
Yep.
like I'm a physician, I'm all about praying. But when you
Yep.
need medicine, you need
Yep.
medicine. When you need surgery,
Absolutely.
you need surgery.
Yep.
Okay. And I always say, you pray about stuff, and Jesus put people, or whoever your higher power is, they put
Mm-hmm.
people there to be able to help you out. So you
I
going to
love it.
somebody doesn't mean that you don't have faith. It means that
Right.
you're using everything that's available to you and
Yeah.
may be put there because of your
Mm-hmm.
faith. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
So
Absolutely.
I'm sorry, I'm not trying to
Woo, it's
be
all
too
right. That's what we that's but see, that's why we have these lunch and learns because we need to tell our communities. So our mantra, our tagline here at Brownstone Worldwide is changing the narrative of how we tell our stories ourselves. And I think it's important for us to tell the truth, even though it might hurt, because unfortunately, what's happening, like you said, so many of us as Black women have experienced trauma. It could have been emotional, physical, sexual abuse, childhood trauma that has not been rectified, from so many different sources. And we're just walking around through life, eating the O's, and not getting the support that we need, even if it means, like you said, and it's okay, Dr. Pam, to say that it's some of us that need to see a therapist.
Mhm.
We paying for insurance and won't use it. What's that about? Like, I don't understand.
Right.
Every chance I get, oh, is it
Yeah,
time for me to have my dental appointment?
that's it.
Hey,
And
hey, I need my mammogram. What are the things that we're not
right.
doing?
And what I will say too, if you're suffering from depression, you need to get help. And you can always start with your physician. If
Mm-hmm.
you're struggling with something, let your physician know. And like you were saying, a lot of things may be covered by your insurance. So start with your doctor, and especially with depression, because since COVID, there is a lot of depression.
Yeah,
I think that a lot of people had some underlying stuff going on, and it just became unmasked
yeah, yeah,
during this pandemic.
absolutely.
So don't be afraid that
Mm-hmm.
there's nothing taboo bad about it, anything to be ashamed about. and it's not even anybody's business. So whatever you talk to your doctor about, you don't have to run out and tell everybody
Right.
that you're seeing a therapist, or that you're going to see a psychiatrist or a
Mm-hmm.
psychologist. That's
Mm-hmm.
not anybody's business. But definitely you
Yeah.
want to talk to your doctor about
Mm-hmm.
stuff like that. Okay.
Absolutely. Oh my goodness. Now, this is so good because we are talking to a medical professional. Dr. Pam, you're an MD, but I heard you say that you practice homeopathy and holistic medicine as well. Can you explain to our audience
Mhm.
what that means? Because I think people got it wrong. Does that
Yes.
mean quack?
No. So let
Oh,
me tell you, because I did what I considered integrative medicine. And this
mhm,
is the issue that I have with, like you're talking about the quacks.
mhm,
What has happened in our society is that you always are going to have somebody who messes it up for
mm,
everybody. So what has happened with medical doctors, not really wanting to listen to people who want to do natural things, is because of some of the, how should I put it? Some of the things people will say or do. For instance,
mm,
you got high blood pressure. You've had high blood pressure for years. You've been on medication for years. Then
mhm.
your friend tells you that there's this something that you can take, this
Yeah.
supplement that you can take that will
Mhm,
help lower your blood pressure. Now,
mhm,
instead of talking to your doctor and saying, well, will this really work for me? Can I
mhm.
take this along with my meds and see if maybe my pressure comes down? No, you may just decide, I'm just going to stop my blood pressure medicine,
Oh,
and I'm going to go to, what's the name of the store that used to be in the malls, that sold all the
GNC.
stuff? Yeah, I'm
Yeah,
going to GNC to ask the
yeah.
clerk there what medicine I can
Right.
get for my high blood pressure.
Mm,
Now, that sounds ridiculous, but I can tell you that that has happened a lot.
really?
So this is the type of stuff that medical doctors are dealing with. So then, sometimes we get to the point where when somebody says something else, it's just like, you kind of roll your
Wow.
eyes like, here we go. Now, for
Mhm,
me, with the kids, of course, there's a lot of things, especially for young kids, that there's no medicine to treat.
mm,
Like basic things like your common cold.
mhm.
So you've got a young child with a cold, they're miserable. The parents are like, well, can't you give me something for my child? Well, you might remember that a few years ago, a lot of the cold medicines were taken off the market for
Yes.
kids under a certain age.
Yes.
So
Uh-huh.
now these parents are feeling like, well, there's nothing I can give my child. Well, guess what? You can give them homeopathy, because what
Mm,
homeopathy does is it reminds the body to do what it already knows how to do. And it is
mm,
safe and effective. Now, of course, I had training in clinical homeopathy, so I knew what was safe, what wasn't. But
mhm,
what I can tell you is the stuff that is generally that you can buy over the counter is going to be safe. Now,
mhm,
as a physician, I had access to other things that were a bit more potent that
mhm,
you needed a doctor for that. But
mhm,
the over the counter stuff is generally safe. But what happens is if you have anything going on, any
mhm.
negative thing, it just everything gets blanketed. Like I
Right.
think there was
Okay.
a time when one of the homeopathic companies took some stuff off the market. So all of a sudden, homeopathy was bad across
Got it.
the board, you know.
Got it.
So you have to be careful of that. But what I tell people is, and maybe I'm a little bit prejudiced because I was an integrative physician, I'm like, if you can find either an integrative doctor, so a doctor who knows something about alternative medicine, or if you can't, you have two different practice. Like you have your doctor,
Yeah.
and then maybe you have somebody else that you're seeing, an herbalist
Mhm.
or a naturopath, but make sure that everybody knows what the other one is doing. Like what
I
people would do
see.
is they won't tell their doctors that they're taking these supplements, but some of these
Mhm.
supplements can interact with your meds. So I would tell people, look, at least tell the pharmacist, like
Right.
at least when you go to the pharmacy, let them know what you're taking, because like I said, I do homeopathy. I do not do herbs.
Mhm.
Herbs, if you don't know what you're doing, you can kill somebody. Okay.
That's right. That's
So
right.
you have to be careful. A lot of people think that, oh, well, because it's natural, I can just take as much as I want. No, that's not true. Where do you think pharmaceuticals came from? They started with natural products.
Wow.
So, so that's what you want to know.
This
And
is good,
you
y'all.
want to work with your doctor. So if
Yeah.
you got questions about something, and just ask your doctor, say, well, hey,
Yeah.
can I do this? Now, what happens, and people have asked this question over and over again, and I love to give this explanation, because
Mhm.
people will say, well, once you're on meds, doctors don't really want to take you off. I said, yeah, because a doctor is going to be liable for what happens to you. So if I'm your medical doctor, let's say I'm an adult doctor,
Mhm.
you have been overweight with high blood pressure for the last 10, 15 years, and you are
Mhm.
stable on your blood pressure meds.
Mhm.
Everything is going well.
Mhm.
Then you go, okay, I lost some weight, so can I get off of my blood pressure meds?
Right.
I may say, let's see if your blood pressure is bottoming out. If it's not, we're not going to mess with your meds. If it is, we can
Mhm.
decrease your meds. The
Mhm.
problem is, if I just take you off of all your meds, what happens to a lot of people who lose weight? Do they what? Gain it back
They gain it
and
back.
more? So then what happens when I just take you off all your meds and then I lose you to follow up? You don't show up for the next couple of years. Next thing I
Mm.
know, you have gained your weight back and more, and have had a stroke. Who you think
Mm.
your family gonna sue? Me. Why? Why
That's
did you take
right.
them off their med? When I go to court, what they gonna say to me? Well, what happened? Well, they lost weight, so I took them off all their meds. But were they stable on all the meds? Yes, they were. Well, why did you take them off the meds? Well, because they lost weight. Well, did you follow up with them? No, we sent letters, but they didn't. It doesn't matter.
It doesn't
So
matter.
now you've lost your patient at fault, because see, doctors become responsible. We are responsible for people, and we get
Mhm.
sued over a lot of craziness. Okay.
Really?
And yes, and depending on, like, jurors will look at, oh yeah, that doctor got a bunch of money. Yeah, see that person shouldn't have never died. Yeah, see, they never should have taken them
Mhm.
off of the med.
Mhm.
Or they should have made
Mm.
sure that they didn't gain the weight. People always can tell you what to do
Yeah.
after the fact, right? So
Mhm.
a lot of times it's just easier for you, because especially doctors who have been sued at least once, they're
Mhm.
gonna cover themselves.
Right.
So
Right.
we will try to cover
Mhm.
ourselves. So
Mhm.
this is why some things happen. But once again, have that talk with your doctor. Like I just
Yeah.
heard a cardiologist say the other day that, yeah, if you're making certain lifestyle changes and you've done it over a
Mhm.
certain period of time, and they see that your blood pressure is coming down, they will reduce your meds. And if you're bottoming out, yeah, they may stop your meds. But,
Mhm.
you just have to work with your doctor.
Yeah.
And what I also tell people is that if you have a doctor that you don't see eye to eye with, you can change your doctor. So if you
Mhm.
know that you want to do some things naturally, and
Mhm.
say you're working with a natural health provider, and you're telling your doctor what you're doing, and your doctor is telling you no, 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 and
Mhm.
you really feel like, yeah, they're not really listening to me, they don't want to hear anything, then maybe it's time for you to find another doctor. You know.
Ah.
So that, that's
So,
something too. But I'm not telling you to find another doctor just because your
yeah.
doctor is saying something you don't want to hear. Because, a lot
Right.
of times the doctor
Right.
says stuff you don't want to hear. And it's true.
Mm.
It's like you don't want to hear it, but you need to hear it. And it's true. So don't get me
I
wrong.
love this. I love this. Listen, y'all, Dr. Pam is dropping these nuggets up in here, and I need y'all to hear this. I have said this before. Grab your pen, grab your paper, because she is dropping these nuggets. So let me just recap what I understood. Number one, homeopathy is uh, not a quack service or medical service. It should truly be a way for us to have our bodies do what it's supposed to do naturally. Got it. Okay. And then the other thing is when you are working with an herbalist and your medical professional or your doctor or your family physician, and you're also working with somebody who is in the field that you're in of homeopathy, make sure that everybody knows what's happening, what meds are out there, what you're on, and be careful of the folks that are out there claiming, because we see a bunch of this stuff on Instagram and TikTok, Facebook and stuff right now, telling people that it's of the earth and it's good, and they're killing folks.
Right. And see, and that's what your doctors are trying to avoid. And like I said, everything will get a bad reputation, because one of the things, like what I can say about homeopathy is I find it to be safe and effective. Now, the problem with homeopathy and with a lot of the alternative medications is that everything will not work for everybody. So I may do something that works great for me, and you do the same thing and it won't work. So then you get upset and say, oh, that stuff doesn't work. That's just crazy. But it just didn't work for you. Okay. But what I tell people about homeopathy, traditionally, either homeopathy works for you or it doesn't. It wonon't harm you. Okay. And homeopathic products are not extremely expensive. You can buy
they're not. No.
Over the counter, pretty inexpensively. But the other thing about homeopathy that people don't realize is that homeopathy is very specific. If you don't have the right homeopathic medicine, it will not work.
Interesting.
And it can be as specific as having one homeopathic medicine for a fever that suddenly spikes up, or having another homeopathic medicine for a low-grade fever. Now, they have come up with some homeopathic medicines that are kind of like more broad, so that it kind of helps with all cold symptoms or whatever. But specific individual remedies are very specific for a particular illness and a particular type of illness or symptom. So, yeah.
Wow.
Yep.
Oh, I got school today, y'all. I thought I knew everything about homeopathic medicine and all this holistic stuff and everything. I guess I need to go back to the drawing board and leave that to the professionals in your field, right? Because if not, I'm going to end up hurting myself. I would never put myself in a position to. So listen really quick, because I know we're down to the last 8 or 9 minutes of this show. I've learned a lot, and I know that our audience has learned a lot as well. But you talked earlier about this space that a lot of us women are in, or you will eventually get into. And so how does your program work for folks like me and for others who may be interested in finding out more about how to be our best selves for ourselves as women in this seasoned experience, I'll call it?
Right. So the first thing that the program does is get to the root cause of why you do the things you do. Because if you're like everybody else, a lot of times we recognize something in ourselves and we try to make a change. And then eventually we seem to go back to whatever we were doing before. But it's because there's something underlying. There's a root cause. There's something that's maybe playing in the background that's causing us to do these things. But if we're unaware, it's going to keep on happening. So in my program, we start off with kind of figuring out why you're doing the things that you're doing. And then we go from there to show you how to make the changes and support you around the changes. And I have a group program because I think that it's nice to have the support of other women who are going through something similar. And, and something positive, because unfortunately, you always have the doubters and the naysayers. You try to do something, they're like, what you trying to do that for? You need somebody who's going through what you're going through and think that it's a good idea, to really support you. Unfortunately, sometimes your family members and your friends are not going to be the ones to support you. Especially like you said, if they're the people who you thought were your friends who really not going to, because they don't really want to see you doing better. Okay.
Come on now.
So
One.
so that's what my program
Yeah.
does. So I,
Yeah.
I have like a 6 week group coaching program to just
Mm-hmm.
like kind of, get you to the root cause and get you going and along your way to,
Mm-hmm.
living your best life.
Come on, live our best life,
Yeah,
which
so
we should be doing.
we're gonna make midlife your best life.
That's right.
Hey.
Ooh, I love that. And again, I have to go back to this saying before we wrap.
Mhm.
I've heard it, whenever I think about my mom when she was the same age that I am, and I was in high school and, going through all of the things. But my mother was very young when I was born. So I was an adult by the time she was my age. And I can remember her saying, I'm old and it's this and it's that. And I don't feel that way.
Right.
I feel like I was saying earlier in our green room call, I feel like I'm a teenager again. Like I'm
Mhm.
discovering everything all over again in this new space, in this new time in my life where I don't have as many responsibilities as I used to. I don't have to worry about getting nobody daycare. If I want to see my grandkids, I can. If not, I let y'all go be with your mamas and your daddies because I don't want to be bothered right now, or just spend time with them and spoil on them and love on them and have my kids look at me and go, Mama, you didn't do that with us.
Yeah.
Those kinds of funny things. Or
Right.
or going out or packing my bag and going to an amazing conference or doing what I want and just telling them, y'all, I'll be back at the wow. So it's different, I think, for everybody. Do you focus on that in your program and allowing people or helping them to understand that this is an exciting time for
Yes,
us?
because that's the whole thing, because you have
Mhm.
worked hard.
Yeah.
Generally, especially as Black women, you have
Hmm.
worked hard for a long time. So
Yeah.
now it's time for you to start living
Hmm.
the life that you deserve. And that's
Hmm.
whatever you think that may be for you. Like you were saying,
Absolutely.
you can go and do the things that you want to do,
Yeah.
and you really don't have anybody making you feel guilty about it. There are a lot of
Yeah.
women who still got somebody making them feel guilty. Let's say that you had a husband, and like you
Ooh,
said, I want to go out to this conference, and your husband's like, what you going there for?
right,
Why you
right,
gotta go there? Why you
right.
gotta spend money going there? Well, we can
We could
just
be
stay home.
doing
Why
this.
you
Yep.
always have those people who question you why you're doing so. I'm doing it because I want to do it because it makes me happy. I was
Right. There you
do
go.
what makes you happy.
Do what makes you happy.
What
And
makes
to
you happy.
that, yes, do that.
Mhm.
I want to present to you something that Dr. Pam is making sure that we all get, and it's 20 ways to enhance your happiness. You're going to go to bit.ly/ Dr. Pam thanks. This is her thank you to our Brownstone community. And here's something else, folks. Here's what I need you to do. I need you to go over to brownstoneworldwide.com. You're going to register for the newsletter, because if you are missing this, that link and the link to her show is going to be in the upcoming newsletter for the week, and you'll be able to get that and also check out her show or the interview that we're having today. So I'm super excited about this. 20 ways to enhance your happiness is going to be exciting for a lot of you guys, so that you can kind of put some things into perspective. And I want to make sure I get my copy too. And Dr. Pam, here's another way that we can find you as well. Pam Middleton, MD.com. Is that right?
Yes.
Okay, very good. Excellent. And is there any last words that you would like to leave with our folks here at our Lunch and Learn Hour?
Yes. I would say that, one of the things that I do try to help people is you're at this point where you may be feeling like you're burnout. So you want to learn how to avoid burnout. And you
Mm-hmm.
also want to decrease and manage your stress. And those are two different things.
Mm,
Decreasing your stress may involve you doing some things differently so that you're not as stressed out. And
yeah.
then know that learning to manage your stress, at a lower level. So we're going to
Mm-hmm.
decrease it so it's not so much, but you're always going
Mm-hmm.
to have some stress. Okay.
Absolutely.
But
Yeah.
you want to learn to manage it in a healthy way, because you have to be
Mm-hmm.
careful of it, especially as women. There are a lot of physical problems that kind of look like they may be age related problems, but can be stress. Okay.
Oh, really?
And yeah, I know we out of time. I didn't get to go into that, but yes, definitely. So some of the things like brain fog and, some of the, sexual dysfunction or
Yeah.
decreased drive
Yeah.
and, the body aches, the mystery pains where you're like, well, I don't know why I'm having this ache. Maybe I'm just getting older, so I'm just starting to have aches and pains. Sometimes that's stress. Now,
Really?
one thing I will say about that too is
Oh,
be careful, especially if you have a male doctor. So no shade on my male colleagues, but
okay.
sometimes they don't listen to us as
Okay.
females. Like I said, some things can be stress, but always make sure you've ruled
Yeah.
out that it's nothing else. Don't
Hmm.
let somebody automatically blow you off by saying it's just stress,
Hmm.
because it
Okay.
might not be just stress.
Right.
But when there's no other reason, it really
Hmm.
might be stress.
Really
Okay.
might
So,
be.
yeah. Okay.
Oh my, Dr. Pam. This has been amazing. Folks, y'all put her information down. Grab your pen, paper, screenshot this, whatever you got to do. You need to definitely check her out. I'm going to go ahead and put this back on the screen. 20 ways to enhance your happiness. bit.ly/Dr. Pam, thanks. And again, it's going to be in the newsletter, so you get an opportunity to click on through anyway and see her show and also get your free download. This has been amazing, and I definitely want to make sure that you come back because we do have one of our air personalities has a show called Wake Up Happy Sis. And I know she would be happy to have you come on. So I'm going to definitely forward your information over. So listen, you guys, once again, we want to thank Dr. Pam Middleton, MD, for coming on and hanging out with us here today at our Lunch and Learn series, the Lunch and Learn Hour that is a part of Brownstone Worldwide, where we are helping to change the narrative on how we tell our stories our way. We'll see you on the next edition of our Lunch and Learn Hour. Take care.
Bye.